starting the day off with some car parts. Got the crusty old OBD1 alternator. Got me a new one, real nice AC Delco, OEM brand. Got everything all kind of mocked up. 2 inches, adding it here will bring that opening out to right where this hole is. Now this one comes down and around. I basically put that where I need it so that it puts this offset so that I can measure this outer distance to this outer distance, and that's what I need to cut from over here. And then from here to right here is what I need to cut from right here. And that will position everything so that that lines up right with this 2 inches extended, and then I can just put a coupler. Checking out the latest model, brother. Damn. Ain't much different. Just got the essentials. Got another package in the mail. And these things are kind of comical, but these are dash 16 gold fittings from Color Fittings. Oh my goodness, these fittings are hilarious. Fucking baller ass. Them shits look crazy. Alrighty, got my 180 2.5 to 3 inch. 2.5 coming off the turbo down and around, so this is all going to be 2.5, and so will this, with the intercooler being the only 3 inch component. So as you can see here, there's an inch or two that I need to add to this part, and then there's a couple inches that need to be conjoined that way. Over here, same deal, but one thing I did, so you know, you take your car to a shop to get it worked on, and they're gonna charge you to cut, weld. It's all an hourly rate, so it's literally $120 an hour. This was $130. So what I'm gonna do is get everything pretty much like sized up, cut up, measured up, and mocked up exactly how I need it, so that when I take it to a shop, all I use them for is the welding portion. So this is about this much too big. So I need to move this over a little bit. Now if I need to trim some here, move the mounts over, literally so that that just connects. First step, take it off, position it where it needs to be, and just literally mount it there. All right, first time using the old Hercules. All right, so this whole fucking thing is just pissing me off, to be honest with you, because this is moving, that's moving. I had to take that off. That shit's moving. This shit's bent. This is like 30 bucks. Also, it's pissing me the fuck off is this, but these are so fucking hard to get on. So if you look at what I'm working with here, that's plastic that squishes, so I can't mount nothing to that at all. Also, you know, depending on what kind of shit I have sitting on it, depends on how heavy it is, so it's just literally not stable. That thing, there's nowhere to clamp anything to. Next door, it's just the car. So I literally have nothing to put a vise, to put an anvil or nothing. So, hitch vise.
They're not communicating, first of all, in the foremost, maybe. They're not communicating with people that are right in front of them, so they don't feel so confused.
Alrighty, so a couple things here. These dash 16s are just insane. I am so happy with them, but I'm pissed at how hard they were to install, like to the hose onto the fitting. So I have little pieces of gold. 2 things here, I don't have the right tool. So the vise there's a vise clamp that basically hugs this perfectly. That's why I bought the hitch vise for the truck. You know, you live and you learn. So The other pipe looks a little bit better. Once you tighten this kind of straightens up. I was hoping to get a little bit more curvature out of this so that I could have this straight how I had it originally, but this is actually not going to be too bad. A couple reasons. One, when you have a cooling system at an angle, you know, if this was a drift car, you'd have to, you know, think about the air coming in at sideways angles, but it's a street car, so air is going to be hitting it. You know, think of like your hand in the wind, right? So if you have wind coming directly at you and you have your hand like this part, the front part of your pinky is the only part that's feeling that air, right? But as soon as you go like this and the air is coming directly at you, the whole backside of your hand would feel that air. Same thing with all these little fins, right? So if I had this thing directly straight, all that air would just pass through and it would cool the tips of the fins, hypothetically. But when you angle it a little bit, all that air hits the whole length of all the fins on this side. So instead of just cruising through, it kind of bounces off, and that cold air touches more of the fin, aka transfers more of the heat, and in theory cools a little bit better. So a little bit of angle never hurts. Second thing is right here, right? So this is a 3-inch exhaust. Previously, you know, that thing was like over here. If you look at the mount where it was previously, the radiator would have been like right here, giving me a lot less room for the up pipe. Moving this over gives me a little bit more room to have like a nicer curve here so that it can come up and out. So 2 things happened there that were really nice. This obviously coming at an angle was sucked out, so it came out 3/4 of an inch, which I have here, added here. So this is 3/4 of an inch of basically washers. I opted to do washers instead of these things that I had because that's just more material. It's just stronger, more material, wider base than this thing. So it's just a lot more stable basically. And in turn, it makes that still pretty stable. Now, next step is the intercooler piping. What I have going on here is basically down there I have about 3.5 inches that I need to close. Right here, I have about 3.5 inches going to this. So I'm gonna chop a little bit of a notch here so that the intercooler piping can kind of chill. So I have 3.5 inches there. So I'm gonna chop 3.5 inches here. That's gonna close that gap down there, right? And then you'll notice from here up, there's a difference. So the intercooler piping, you can see there that it's about 2 inches. So this is kind of at an angle. So boom. It's about 2 inches that I need, as you can see right over here. And so chop 3.5 here, add 2 inches there, and that's gonna meet those 2 pipes. Years ago, I decided to put some of this gold foil on, and now I have to remove it. This is the pipe that goes from the intake, blow-off valve, and then down. I need to add I think 3.5 inch piece right there. Yeah, 3.5 inches. So this either needs to go here, actually right there. So make a cut there, add this there. Got this one all kind of figured out on this side. So you got that. A weld's gonna go there. Weld is gonna go there and there. And boom, that side's good. This side is good as well. I chopped 4 inches out of here. Put the pipe right there. That's gonna give me another 4 inches. Meet up. Everything's looking good. All right, new day. So yesterday I got all the piping for the intercooler kind of mocked up. Real quick before I run this down to the shop, I just got to clean up these edges. So basically just crank that up, grind it down like that, deburr the edges, and then put it in place, tape it up, make markings so that the welder knows how to align everything. So what you're looking for here, for there to be no air gaps, because if there's gaps, then the guy's gonna have to take it apart, prep it, do a bunch of shit, maybe take away more material than I want. So that's pretty much ready for him to just clean the outside and weld. If you're gonna take something to a shop, you'd want to kind of set it up like this. So I obviously positioned the part in the car how I wanted it, made some markings that they can kind of align so that they know that when these three are lined up, it's exactly where it needs to be. Couple things that I just showed you guys on the bandsaw. So you'll see, like, except for right there, you'll see it's a little bit higher than this one because I use the vise to kind of hold stuff. So this one he can push it down, kind of tap it down once he tacks the rest of this, and that should link up right away. And then once he tacks everything, he can kind of wire brush it, or maybe he can use like this little sliver right here to kind of sand down, tack it, and then come over here, sand one of these down, put a couple tacks here, remove the tape, and then he can kind of sand all the way around and prep it. I'm gonna want to do the same thing right here with this one and with that one. Put some gold foil tape, can't really tell. I'm gonna do the same over here, but that's all ran. Went and got a black fitting locally. So cooling system, check. Fan plugs right in, out, overflow, boom. Oil drain, or turbo oil drain. So in there, you will see a -10 right there. It's gonna go down and around that pipe into the drain. So here we go. Just made this line for the oil drain, -10. I would have used my old one, but it was -6. All right, so comes down at a 45-degree angle. 45 down and around the turbo inlet. You can kind of see how that goes around. Alrighty, so they're done, they're welded. Kind of see the welds are pretty good. We'll find out if they're not. Cold side is done. I just need a couple 2.5-inch clamps. It goes down, here's that. So it comes down from there. There's the intercooler. 3-inch back down to 2.5-inch. There's another clamp right there. Goes up and into the intake, and that's 2 3/4, but 2.5 basically. So got the blow-off valve mounted. I'm just waiting on the cam bolts for the cam gears. Once I get the downstar cam bolts, I'm going to take the valve cover off, take off the covers for the rockers and all that jazz, and then I'm going to put the cam cap, the new cams, degree everything, make sure everything's timed, coil pack plate, coil packs, spark plugs, everything's ordered, everything is on the way, so we are almost there, y'all. Tomorrow I am gonna button up the shifter cables for the transmission, which I should have done first, but I was just trying to figure out all the plumbing for everything. And then after that, it's pretty much it. So I'm gonna wrap up this video. The next video is gonna be pretty much actually finalizing, scheduling the tune, and see what's up. Thanks for watching.